Assisted service. Assisted service is a combination of table service and self-service. This form of service is commonly found in restaurants offering part buffets where part of the meal, usually the main course, is served to seated customers, while other parts of the meal such as appetizers, salads, soups, and desserts are collected by the customers. There are 3 types of buffet service. 1. Sit-down buffet. 2. Stand-up or fork buffet. 3. Display or finger buffet. Sit-down buffet. As is evident by the name itself, other factors like food display remain the same. The only difference is that after helping, the guest sits down to have his meals. The table setting required in this case is just like any other occasion. If wine is to be served with food, glasses are put in advance on the tables, and the waiter serves wine. Fork buffet. As the name suggests, there is no elaborate cutlery, hence the name fork buffet, since one can't use a knife and fork when eating while standing. Also, special care is taken in the kind of food that's chosen for such a meal. It must be made sure that it's easy to eat and can be eaten with a fork. Example: casseroles with rice and noodles, salads. Display buffet. The guest selects their food and then eat at a table. Here the guests approach the buffet at its various service points to select their requirements course by course. Most ancillary items may also be collected, if needed, at the buffet. Example: rolls, wraps, puff pastries, etc. Categorization introduction. What is table service? Table service is a restaurant industry term that can mean either the food presentation to patrons by waiters or the place settings present on each table. Table service establishments are usually more expensive, but more work is involved on the restaurant's part to set and clear tables and present food to order. Traditional Western. Traditional Western table service has several types and sizes of spoons, forks, and knives. All place settings have a standard-sized dinner fork, while smaller forks are used for salad and dessert. Steak knives, as well as duller, butter-type knives for bread, may also be included. Silver service. Silver service is table service carried out to a high standard with detail paid to cutlery placement and serving methods.
Before serving the customer, check that everything is clean and undamaged. Serving the main meals. Try to touch the plate as little as possible and use a cloth or a tray. This prevents contamination and stops a very hot plate from scalding you.
Would you go for some mashed potato?
Yes, please.
Identify a route to the table, being aware of customers' legs, bags and other hazards. Then walk slowly and steadily so that the food doesn't run or slop around the plate.
A bit more for you, sir?
Oh, no, it's fine.
And there's maybe some vegetables, some romanescos or green beans.
You should approach from the left where possible so that you may serve from the left-hand side of the customer. Say excuse me and serve to the left and don't lean across the customer. In order to serve side dishes and accompaniments, use a service spoon and fork. Place the spoon at the bottom, resting it on or just below the knuckle of your middle finger, with the index finger between the thumb on top of the fork, which is turned downwards. This creates a tongue which you can use to serve with. Take a portion of the required side dish and in a smooth, unobtrusive manner serve onto the customer's plate neatly. So that the finished dish looks elegant, avoid placing it on top of anything else. As a general rule, you must serve from the oldest to the youngest female, and then to the males. The host is served last, regardless of gender.
American service. It is usually called plate service because the food is already placed on the plate in the kitchen, ready to serve guests. This type of service is used in coffee shops where there is a demand for quick and straightforward service. Except for salad and bread, most food is placed on the dinner plate. Food served from the left, beverages from the right, soiled dishes removed from the right. Do not remove until all are done the course. French service. Also called service à la Française, it is the most detailed and labor-intensive of all serving styles. Service à la française is the practice of serving all the dishes of a meal at the exact moment. A modified form of service à la française in which several large dishes are brought out for each dinner to help themselves from is known as family style in less formal restaurants. This service is used in upscale restaurants, elegant hotel dining rooms, cruise ships, resorts, and casinos.
French service is a fine dining technique in which platters of food are assembled in the kitchen and then brought to a banquet table to be served a la carte. Servers working in pairs use tongs or 2 serving utensils in one hand to place portions of each type of food from the platter to the guest's plate. To French means to offer and serve a single portion to each individual guest. This is most commonly used for serving bread. If you are instructed to French the bread, that means that you would offer and serve each guest a piece. This type of service begins with one server placing clean plates down in front of each guest. If a hot course is being served, hot plates will be dropped. If the course is cold, cold plates will be dropped. After the plates are down, the second server follows behind with a tray of food in their right hand and the serving utensil in their left hand. One guest at a time, the server will place food items on the guest's plate with the protein at 6 o'clock, the starch at 2, and the vegetable at 10. Every plate will have the exact same presentation. If a guest asks for seconds, politely inform them that you will be happy to come around again once the other guests have been served. To create tongs using a fork and a spoon, take your left hand, palm facing down, drop your pointer finger and your thumb, and drop your ring finger. Take one utensil, either a fork or a spoon, and place it with the handle facing your pinky on top of your ring finger. Now place the other utensil between your index finger and thumb and practice pinching the two together. When Frenching soup, get as close to your guest's bowl as possible. Take one ladleful of soup, scrape the ladle on the side of the soup tureen to avoid dripping, place the ladle in the bottom of the guest's bowl, and tilt the ladle away from them to pour the soup into the bowl. Some things to avoid during French service. Do not rest the platter on the table or on your knee. Do not have guests serve themselves. Do not stab the food and shake it onto the guest's plate. Do not slop the food, and do not slide the food off of the platter onto a guest's plate. French service has been accepted as the most skilled style of service with the highest expectations from the client.
English service, often referred to as the host service because the host plays an active role in the service. The waiter brings food on platters and is shown to the host for approval. The waiter then places the platters on the tables. The host either portions the food into the guest plates directly or portions the food and allows the waiter to serve. Garrido service. The food is served from the garrido. Garrido is a rolling cart the same height as the guest's table. The garrido is covered with a cloth and is placed side by side with the table. It is equipped with a small alcoholic stove to keep the food warm. This service is very elaborate and elegant. The food is partially prepared in the kitchen and completed by the chef for head waiter in full view of the customer. Russian service. This type of service is the same as that of French service. However, in Russian service, the food is prepared and pre-cut in the kitchen and then neatly arranged on a silver platter by the chef. The waiter then shows the platter to the guest as a polite gesture and serves the food to the individual plates of the guests using serving cutleries. Russian service is beneficial at elegant banquets. The food is served in a clockwise direction, around the table. A heated plate should be placed before each guest from the right side. Advantages and disadvantages of Russian service. The advantages are: only one waiter is needed at each station. Elegant and entertaining. Faster and less expensive than French service. It guarantees equal portions because the food is pre-cut and already served. It gives the guests personal attention. The disadvantages are: it requires a significant initial investment in silver equipment. The last guest to be served is presented with an unappetizing platter. If every guest in the party orders a different dish like steak or fish, the waiter must carry a very heavily loaded tray raised to the dining room. Single-point service. What is single-point service? In this category, the guest pays for his orders and gets served at a single point. There may or may not be any dining area or seat out. The different types are takeaway, vending machines, kiosks, and food courts. Takeaway. Customer orders and is served from a single point, at the counter, hatch, or snack stand. Customer consumes off the premises. Takeaway outlets are often small businesses serving traditional food, which sometimes, but no means always, of high quality. Vending machines. A vending machine is a machine that dispenses items such as snacks, beverages, and other consumer products after the customer inserts currency or credit into the machine. Provision of food service and beverage service utilizing automatic retailing. Kiosks. It is an outstation to provide service for peak demand, or in a specific location. Kiosks may be open for customers to order or used for dispensing only. Kiosks is generally temporary structure used to prepare and sell food to the general public, usually where large groups of people are situated outdoors in a park, at a parade, near a stadium, or otherwise. Food courts. Series of autonomous counters are displayed, where customers may either order and eat or buy from many counters and eat in the separate eating area or take away. Food courts may be found in shopping malls, airports, parks, high schools, and universities. Food is usually eaten with plastic cutlery, and sporks are sometimes used to avoid the necessity of providing both forks and spoons.